Everybody quiet down. Old Uncle Trailer Park has a little bit of a Halloween hangover. Mm. Went a little bit too crazy on the candy corn cocktails. Mm. Mm. You know, I like Halloween, so I decided to go to a Halloween party. And I figured it would be safe because, everybody's going to be literally wearing a mask. But nobody told me that Halloween was canceled this year. I didn't know that. At least where I was, no kids were going trick or treating. So I got drunk and I started stumbling around. We, we got to go find some kids. We got to go find some kids. Which, by the way, is not the best thing to be screaming as an adult man. It's not good. And then finally, when some kids did show up in my neighborhood, they weren't even trick or treating. So I had to chase them down the street with a bucket of candy saying, "Hey kids, come here. I got free candy." Which, again, is not the best thing to be saying as an adult. So nobody was even showing up. So we said, "The hell with it." And we went inside and got plastered. And it wasn't bad. It was a good night. And I was fine until the next morning. I didn't really have any real hangover symptoms. I got drunk until my body went numb, and then, I moved on with my life. Got a little bit of a headache, but no big deal. So we wake up the next morning and decide to go to McDonald's, which is always a good idea after a hangover. And so we pulled into the parking lot, and it was one of those McDonald's that was a part of a grocery store parking lot. And by the grocery store, there was this long line of people, and they were voting. There was like a whole line of people waiting to vote to decide the fate of our country. And here my drunk ass was turning blue, and I had to tell my friend, "Hey man, pull over, I'm gonna lose it." So I got out of the car. I walked over to one of those little sections of the parking lot where there's a tree in the middle of the freaking parking lot, like that's supposed to be natural. And I just grabbed a hold of that tree and I just projectile vomited all over, looking like the freaking exorcist. And it was a weird greenish neon color because of all the weird, stupid Halloween cocktails I was drinking. And so I barfed my brains out and I looked up and I saw this whole line of responsible Americans trying to save our country, sitting there looking at someone that was pretty much everything that's wrong with our country. And, I felt embarrassed because here they were taking life seriously, and here I was Sunday morning, 8:30 in the morning, barfing all over a tree. So I felt bad. I needed to save face a little bit. So I looked at all the voters. I wiped the puke off my mouth, and I said, "This country makes me sick." And then I got back into the car. And I think they took that to mean that I was like super political and stressed out about politics because they gave me a standing ovation. As we were driving away, they all started clapping. And so I went to McDonald's and I wasn't even that hungry. So I ate one of the hash browns, which by the way, I'm not the most professional alcoholic. So I did not realize that grease and alcohol poisoning is not a very good combination. But again, I didn't know this. And so during all this, I realized how stupid hash browns are. Because hash browns are potatoes that get chopped up to get fried back together, only to get chopped up again when you eat it in your mouth. Potato, chop it up. Hash brown, all together. Then you chop it up again with your mouth. And then, of course, I took it to the next part, which most people don't usually, but I barfed it back up. And let me tell you something, man. Diced up potato getting launched out of your stomach at 200 miles an hour, that's kind of dangerous. I was like automatically shooting this thing out of my mouth, ricocheting off the toilet, like it was some type of potato bit BB gun. It was disgusting, and I think I ruined hash browns for myself forever, which sucks because I loved hash browns. But yeah, all in all, not a bad night. Can't wait for Thanksgiving.